Hello everyone, my name is Priya Chatterjee Ray and welcome back. With CAT less than 2 weeks away, I can only imagine the amount of stress you will be under at this point. Trust me, I was where you are exactly 3 years ago, and the stress of what was to come was so stifling that I really needed someone to tell me the 10 things that I'm going to tell you today. I think that this would probably be the last bit of prep tips or advice that I'd be giving you, at least for this cycle. And I hope that if I've ever been able to help you, and anything I've ever said, if it has resonated with you and if it's something that you have used and found successful in your own preparation, I hope that you will take my advice today and implement it in the rest of the 2 weeks, so that you maximize your own potential for the actual CAT exam and that you are able to perform to the best of your abilities. In all of the past videos that I've shared, be it the 75-day strategy, the 50-day strategy, the last minute tips and tricks for VRC, LRDI, QA, all of that, right? Those have all been actionable steps that you had to practice and put into your own strategy and utilize during mocks to be able to implement. The tricks that I'm going to tell you today are more about your mindset and headset game that you need to get clear before you go into that exam. Because when you're sitting in front of the computer on D-Day, the only thing that will be playing against you after all the preparation that you've put in is your own mind. Your own mind will play tricks against you, and that is what will make or break your exam. So keep these 10 things in mind, starting today, going forward till the exam, so that you're prepared to beat your own self at the CAT game. So the first thing that you need to keep in mind is your Aukat score. Now, Aukat score basically means your capacity or your potential, or basically what you will be able to score given your preparation, right? Let me preface this with an example from my own CAT exam. In CAT 2020, and also 2021, if someone would have a net total of 32 to 33 questions correct, that is about 100 marks, they were able to safely land themselves in the 99 percentile. And I'm looking at my research from the past years, right? Which technically means that if you get about 10 to 12 questions right in each section, you are safe. Now, if you look at your own past solutions and the papers that you've solved, the CAT papers or the mock tests that you've taken, you will see that you do have the potential to get these 10 to 12 sums correct already. I have been saying this in every single tips and tricks video of mine, but I'll repeat it again. You need to go on that day and get 10 to 12 questions right per section. If you have to clear sectional cutoffs, because I'm getting a lot of questions about, what do I need to do to just clear this section? I don't care about anything else. I don't want a 99 percentile. The highest cutoff this year is set by IIM Lucknow, sectional cutoff, and that is an 85 percentile, which basically means that if you have a particular weak section, even if you manage to get 8 to 9 questions minimum correct in it, you will meet that percentile cutoff and you will be in the safe zone of consideration. So Aukat score means remember the amount of preparation you are going into this exam with. That means that if you look at what you have done already, you will see that you already have the capacity in you to solve that many questions correctly in the exam, and you don't need to go to some extreme level and solve all the questions that are in the exam to get the 99 percentile, right? A 99 percentile will come at a little over 100 marks, and that is possible with 32 to 33 correct questions, and that is possible by getting 10 to 11 to 12 questions right in each section if you're balanced across all sections, or meeting the minimum of 8 questions correct in each section and maximizing your score somewhere else. Okay, so the next tip is easy, medium, difficult. What this means is that in every paper of however number of questions there may be, there will be questions that are easy, there will be questions that are medium, and there will be questions that are difficult. Your job is to find the easy questions and get those questions correct. You have to find the easy questions, the sitters in every exam, in every section of the exam, and make sure that you attempt them and that you attempt them correctly. We've all done maths till class 10. You read the title of this video in English, and for some reason you are taking this exam, which means you have done some sort of preparation, so you have some logic within you, right? What I'm trying to say is everyone has a basic skill set that allows them, or the basic aptitude that allows them to solve some things in the CAT exam. When you go forward in the exam that day, make sure that you do read every question that is put in front of you, irrespective of whether you have covered it in your syllabus, whether it is your strong point or not. Make sure that on the day you read every question to see if it is a principle that you can apply from even your childhood, if that is so. If it is a theta question, type in the answer type question. Make sure that whatever happens, you attempt that question, because it is the kind of question where you have which you can attempt without taking a risk, because there are no negative marks in it. So make sure that you find the easy questions. To find the easy questions, make sure you read every question, and make sure that no matter what happens, you type in some answer for a theta type question, because those are the sitters that will make you cross the finish line. Okay, so the next important tip to remember is that there are no love stories in the CAT exam. When you crack the CAT and you go for your MBA to the business school of your dreams, you will have ample amount of time to find your lover, to have the most beautiful love story ever. But in the CAT exam, remember that your lover is not sitting in front of you, right? There will be no love stories in that exam. What I mean by that is, it doesn't matter in all of your preparation what you think is your strong section, what you think are your strengths. It doesn't matter if you're really, really good at arithmetic or really, really good at geometry, or you think you're like some top at para summaries or para jumbles, right? In that exam, if you spend too much time stuck with one question or stuck with a particular problem, you will be digging your own grave. So don't do it. If you find a section that you have devoted 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes to, and even at the end of it, if you're not being able to solve it, just move on. The favorite dialogue that a dear professor of ours had at IMA was to say, move on, which basically means that, if you've spent 10 minutes on something, just consider it a sunk cost and let it be. Don't make it an opportunity cost. Don't lose more time in something that you have already wasted so much time in. So if you are stuck on a question, give it 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Set this timer in your head beforehand, right? Go into that exam thinking and knowing that if within 3 minutes you're not being able to solve a problem, be it QA, RC, LRDI, whatever it is, if you're not being able to solve it, leave it as it is and move on. Because it doesn't matter how many sums you tried to solve and couldn't solve in the exam. It doesn't matter how many questions you almost attempted but couldn't attempt because you were confused, right? At the end of the day, what matters is the questions you attempted and the questions you got right. So make no qualms about leaving these toxic questions, these toxic relationships behind, and just move on. Okay, the next tip is to look at solved papers. You don't have to solve them anymore. Just look at the papers that have come since 1990 to 99, and then 2017 to 2022 for you. All the kinds of questions that have come, to get used to the kind of concepts that are asked. See how they frame the questions, see how the solutions are presented to these questions, right? I've spoken about various sources from which you can look at past papers and the questions that have come before. Make sure that before you go for the exam, you have read through all the questions. Even if you've solved them once before, go through them all again, so that any curveballs that come at you in the exam, you know how to look at them. Because CAT has this tendency to repeat the concepts that they've asked again and again. Sometimes they repeat the exact sum with the same numbers, or this exact set with just changing some values or names in the set. So make sure that you've read through every single solved paper, and you have your formula book or your golden book in which you've mentioned these difficult questions or sums that you couldn't do before. Make sure that you have it written down and that you can flip through it before the exam. Again, don't solve anything, but look at the solutions that are that are given for all of these questions. This is the most important tip, and I know that no one is going to listen to me, so I will preface it with a story, with my own story. The last mock exam that I took before the CAT was on the Sunday before my final CAT exam, and it was by time, and it was a very, 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 very difficult mock. My percentile was around the 60s, and I was dejected and heartbroken, and I cried for the rest of the week. It was a really, really bad situation for me to put myself in. So much so forth that despite all the preparation that I'd done for however many months, when I went and sat for the actual exam, I did face an issue with my confidence, and that's a very rare thing for me to do. I'm usually the most overconfident person in a room, but that day before the CAT exam, I was very scared because of that mock test that I had taken before the exam. So what I would like to tell you now is to just relax. Nothing that you do in the next 2 weeks is going to make a huge difference either way. I know a lot of people in the Telegram group are talking about them taking chutti from office and now doing mocks every single day leading up to the CAT exam till the Saturday before the exam. All I would like to say is it's your life, you can do what you want to. But if you were my sister or my sibling, I would definitely tell you to not do that, for the simple reason that you will face. There are two simple reasons for it. First, because you will face burnout. The more you exert yourself now, mentally, emotionally, physically, whatever it is, the more you exert yourself, the tougher it will be for you to face the exam on the actual day, because your mind will get tired. All the people in the group who have been talking about feeling more sleepy, wanting to eat, or just crashing, trying to sleep for 10 minutes but sleeping for 5 hours, the reason that's happening is because you're nearing your burnout. If you remember the graph I had shown you in my 75-day strategy, you have reached your peak performance. If you go over the curve of your peak performance, you will go down, right? Remember I'd shown you that curve that went like this. I'm not showing you an image right now, I'm just drawing it. The curve went like this. You are here, you're at the pinnacle. You need to maintain yourself at the pinnacle, because if you tip over, you will face burnout and you will not be able to put your best foot forward on the main day. So don't think that doing all these mocks now is going to make your score skyrocket. Don't think that if you don't do these mocks now, your score is going to fall, right? At the end of the day, it is an aptitude test. You have prepared all that you could for this test already. You just have to assimilate all your knowledge, all your practice, and you have to concentrate it into a phase or into a zone in which you can use it on 26th, right? So now going forward, do things that make you happy. Read a book, relax, meet friends, talk to people who are not CAT aspirants or who will not give you stress about the CAT exam. Do things that make you happy, right? If you want to know what I did after I had finished crying for like 5 or 6 days, I sat and I read Harry Potter before my actual CAT exam. On Saturday, I finished reading the first book, because that's something I do before every exam, right? I have exams going on, ISC exams, CAT, even my degree exams and like exams in IIM. I was sitting and reading Harry Potter before every major exam in my life, because it just helped me calm down. So I would suggest that you do the same thing. Don't read Harry Potter, but do something that calms you down. Talk to people who make you happy, and just relax. And whatever you do, try to listen to this one tip of mine. Really, relaxing is the best thing that you can do for yourself right now. Okay, so those were the more motivational pep talky videos that I could give you about what headspace your mind needs to be in before the CAT exam. But the tips that I'll be giving you now are more practical in nature, and these are things that, as a person who's taken the CAT exam, I can tell you, and things that you should remember, right? Okay. Now, the first practical tip I would like to give you is that you should go and take a look at the sample paper that is published by the CAT authority every year, right? This paper is not in any way indicative of what your CAT exam will be like. It'll most probably feature questions that have come in the past. That doesn't mean those questions are going to be repeated in your exam. It doesn't matter how many questions they've given per section, that also might change in the exam. Nothing about the exam or the questions that are in the paper are important, right? It doesn't matter. Or what is important is that you understand the interface or the website on which the exam is going to take place. I'll tell you why this is important, right? For the entirety of my preparation, I used my MacBook to give mocks. This is because when I took the CAT exam, it was COVID time and we couldn't go to any institutes to take the proctored exams live, right? So you sat at home and you used whatever you had available. I used a MacBook, which usually means it's faster, the keypad works differently, etc., etc. But when I went for the actual exam, I got this really, really old rickety computer with a CPU that was overheating every 5 minutes, right? And the keys were such that even pressing one key took 30 seconds before it responded, right? That calculator took 10 minutes to load and 50 minutes to even work properly. So if you take a look at the software beforehand, you will know what to expect in the actual exam. You will know what kind of speed that computer will work on. You will know how it works, right? I'll tell you another thing that had happened in the exam. I wrote it down so that I wouldn't forget it. It was that when I was taking the exam, just tapping on the option and pressing next was not saving the option, which is why I lost a lot of time in my VARC section. I had to click save and move on like some 4 or 5 times before the option actually got saved. Otherwise, and this I realized after I'd finished solving one entire passage. So make sure you've checked out the sample paper that they've uploaded so that you know how the interface works, so that there are no surprises on the actual day. If you haven't already, pause the video and go and watch it now. You can come back to this video later or not come back at all, it's okay. But make sure you do this because this is very, very important for you to do. Okay, so my next tip for you is to keep it sparse. In every exam, you get one writing pad which is given to you for rough work, and this is not A4 sized or blank sheets. Those are lined sheets that are about it's about this big. I mean, it's shorter than this and maybe a little wider, but that's all you get, right? So make sure that you're not making big crosses or circles or tearing pages out of it, because you will only get one pad and after that it's over, right? So when you are doing your rough work, make sure you do it very neatly, and you keep track of what you're doing without making all these big markings everywhere, right? Do each sum on a new page, and make sure that you have carefully cut out what you are disregarding, so that even if need be, you can come back to it later. Remember, after moving on from all these toxic questions, if you ever have to come back, do it so neatly that you can come back and start off exactly where you left it. Also, make sure you're not tearing pages out of that notebook, because I had a tendency to do that. When I thought that I was not going to be attempting a particular question, I tore out that page so that I wouldn't come back to it later. And the invigilator thought I was some random test taker from a cat coaching institute, and that I was writing down the questions to take home with me. So he came and he harassed me for like 5 minutes. What are you doing? What are you doing? So make sure you're not doing any of this. Don't get caught doing things that will make them think that you're cheating. So just take a pencil and just carefully cut out whatever needs to be cut out, or circle and cross whatever needs to be crossed, and just keep it sparse. Make sure you use a new page for everything, and work as tidily as possible. Okay, so the next tip is more like 3 tips, because these are sectional tips for each of the sections, and not things I wouldn't tell you usually, but I have to because we're in the end game. First is for VARC. Whenever you're solving the paper, on the corner of the screen, you will find a question paper. Remember that you tap that and you solve your VARC by looking at that, because then you can see the whole paper in one go without having to scroll up and down to look at the questions and the options. It'll all come side by side, so you'll get the entire question paper in one go, so that you can identify sitters more easily. For LRDI, make sure that you have looked at each set before you start solving. Don't just look at the first set and start solving that, even if you think it is easy. Please read every set before you start solving it. And for QA, I don't know why people say this, but they do, because they believe that the easiest questions come at the end. Of course, I've given you the advice to read every question, but for some reason, if you're not following that advice of mine, I still implore you to follow that advice of mine. And if you aren't, at least start from question number 24 or 26, whatever the last question is, and work backwards from that, because people say that the easier questions come at the end. Don't take it in writing from me. That's what I've heard people say. It's what I did in my own exam. I started from 26, went to 1, that was my first round, then went back to 26 and solved that way. So I did it, so I'm suggesting that you can also do it, but read every question. Read every question. Okay, the next tip is to build a routine. Now, usually it takes 21 days to form a habit. We don't have 21 days, but we have maybe 12 days. So use these 12 days to form a habit for yourself. What that means is that train your brain, that rhymes, to settle into the headspace for cat. What that basically means is, if you are unfortunate like me and you have slot 1, you need to be able to wake your brain up before the timing of the actual CAT exam, right? Your actual CAT exam will probably be at 9 a.m., which means you need to be there at 8 a.m., which means you need to get up at maybe 5 a.m. to reach wherever you're supposed to be reaching. So from today's, for the rest of the day till CAT, wake up at 5 a.m. every day and do something, anything from 8 a.m. onwards to keep your brain awake. Read the newspaper, read a book, have lots of coffee, and look at solve papers, whatever it is. Wake your brain up at 8 a.m. so that when you have to take the exam at 9 a.m., your head is more awake, right? Don't settle into a routine that will make you awake and fresh at 9. Be awake and fresh 1 hour in advance of your actual exam, and be ready to get up 2 to 3 hours before your exam. Don't think that you're just going to get up at 7 and reach at 8 and be completely all right. You won't. Similarly, if you have the 12 or the 1 or the whatever what time slot 2 starts, same thing applies to you. Make sure you're waking up 3 hours before that time, and make sure you're doing things to wake your brain up at least 1 hour before that. And if you're in the last slot, I mean, chill karo, relax, make sure you sleep enough and that you wake up late. If you're the type that feels sleepy after eating, please have a heavy breakfast and don't eat anything for lunch. Have that breakfast nap and then again get up 3 hours before your exam so that you don't feel sleepy in the actual exam. Whatever it is, make sure you build your routines before the exam and don't change anything about this routine the day before the exam or on the day of the exam. An extension of this is to please be a little healthy for the next 2 weeks. I am the last person to say all this. I was very unhealthy during my CAT exam, but try to sleep 8 hours. Try to eat less food from outside. Don't fall sick right now. I know Diwali just happened, so you don't even have an excuse. Try to control like junk food and stuff. Have food made at home. We don't want stomach upsets. We don't want you catching a fever. All of that. Don't sleep in the AC. Basically, don't do anything that's going to make you fall sick in the next 2 weeks. Protect yourself as if you're made of glass, because clearly, as far as CAT is concerned, you are. You're very valuable. Invaluable, actually. So look after yourselves. Okay, so the last tip that I'll give you is basically a hodgepodge of a lot of things that I remember from my own CAT days. Even though it was COVID and it was a Sunday, I thought we wouldn't face much traffic on the road. For some reason, there was a lot of traffic on the road that day, obviously because there were a lot of other aspirants going to their centers. So make sure you leave with ample amount of time in hand. Try to get to your exam center at least an hour in advance, because they will put you through all these scanners. They'll do all this testing. Once you reach there, they'll scan your eyes and they'll make you put your bag somewhere and your books somewhere else. All of that's going to happen. So make sure you reach at least an hour in advance so that you have enough time to do this and you're not rushing at the last minute. Try to not carry paper, pen, books, anything with you, because they don't really have good arrangements to keep this. In my exam, I had to keep it in a parking lot, whereas the exam was inside this institute place. So clearly not the best place to leave your things. So make sure that you don't carry too many things. I lost my favorite pencil box, my lucky pencil box. It's okay, but it was very pretty, but I lost it. It's fine. I don't blame. Actually, I do blame the people, but it's okay. So make sure you don't take all these things. Start reading way in advance of actually starting the exam, which means once you reach and you're sitting in front of the computer, make sure you start reading before your exam starts. What that means is they give you instructions on the first slide of the page, and they're constantly there till the time your exam starts, till you get that time. So make sure that you read that first, because if nothing else, it will get your brain in the zone of comprehension before you actually have to start doing any comprehension. It'll also, for the people who tell me that they can't focus, this will also help you focus in the first 5 minutes of the exam, right? So make sure you're reading carefully you're reading the instructions on the first page. If nothing else, you'll maybe find out how many questions are in the exam and how many questions are in each section and all of that. In our year, this is very important, because we went from a 3-hour exam to a 2-hour exam. So it went from 100 questions to 74 questions. And till we actually took the CAT exam, which is slot 1, we didn't know that there would be 74 questions. It was written in the instructions, and that's where I knew. That's why I had to change my strategy in the actual exam, right? Because most of us went thinking it'll be 100 questions and you have to find the questions that are easy correctly. We never thought that they would also reduce the number of questions. I mean, we thought it, but we weren't sure. And it was written in the instructions how many questions there was, so I could come up with my strategy on spot. I don't think they're going to change the number of questions for your exam, but still, as a way to get ready to solve the exam, make sure you're reading carefully and that you're ready before the exam. Like slap yourself on the face or something, do your prayers, and then start the exam. So this last bit is motivation again, and it mostly stems from things I saw in my actual exam. There were at least 3 people in that exam hall who couldn't finish their exam because they started having a panic attack. Now, I've already mentioned on my Telegram group my thoughts about anxiety and fear and depression and whatever else it is that you're facing right now before the exam. And I want you to remember that whatever happens, however big this might seem to you today, at the end of the day, it is just another exam. I know it seems like an insurmountable mountain in front of you, and you feel that if you are not able to perform in this, um, you will not be able to do anything at all. Let me tell you that that is not true. This exam happens every year. If this exam doesn't go well, another brilliant exam for a brilliant institute happens in January. And I'll speak to you more about that in a later video, but I just want you to know that just this exam going really well or really badly doesn't open any doors in life or close any doors in life. Anyway, the market is terrible as far as placements is concerned. So if you can't go to B school this year and you go to B school next year, it's fine. Honestly, it's fine. And I know it's very difficult for you to sit there and listen to this coming from me, because I've had a great life. What am I talking about fears and all? But really, I think your peace of mind is what is most important going into this exam, right? You don't want to go into the exam feeling scared and afraid. Just remember that it's just another exam. There are whatever, maybe 1.5 2 lakh people writing that exam. Half of them are not as prepared as you are, and you will be fine. Whatever happens, if the exam goes really well, you'll be fine. If the exam doesn't go well, you'll still be fine, because there will be ample opportunities for you that will come up. And at the end of the day, when you look at your entire life, this will just be 1 year, right? It won't matter so much in the long run. So just take a deep breath, relax, and remind yourself that you're not the only person in this condition. There are thousands and thousands of other students who are as worried as you are. If you don't believe me, go join my Telegram group and see how much these people are freaking out, and then listening to each other freak out and then freaking out together, and then just realizing कि अब तो हो गया, जो होना है. And I think that is something that you need to remember in the exam. जो हो गया so हो गया. What is going to happen is going to happen, right? If you believe in destiny or you don't believe in destiny, that day is something that just happens that day, right? You can't predict it beforehand. And if for some reason it doesn't live up to your expectations, if it doesn't go how you wanted it to go, don't get scared. I'll still be here at the end of your CAT. We will chart out a plan as to what we have to do after that, should your exam not go well. Should your exam go well, we will chart out a plan for that as well. And I will be hoping that everyone who comes back from their CAT exam only has good things to say. But whatever it is, we'll make it through together. I'm not going anywhere, you're not going anywhere. Hopefully Google is not going to shut down YouTube, so we'll be fine. And even if they do, we will find another way to interact and make sure to plan our journey forward together. I promise you that I will not leave you in the dust, whatever happens on the 26th of May. And that is my promise to you. I will personally speak to each and every person who is freaking out after the exam is over, if you are, to make sure that we have a plan B, a plan C, a plan D, whatever it is, whatever you need, we will figure it out together. So please calm down, please relax, don't freak out, don't get burnout, and just smile and be happy. After listening to all of this Gyaan, if you want to listen to more Gyaan, or if you want to find a place to find me, my Telegram group is going to be in the description box. This group, of course, let me give you a caveat, it's going to be locked on Sunday. So there will be no messages that will come through on the actual CAT day, because I don't want people to speak about the CAT exam and give their friends anxiety. I will open it after the slot 3 exam is over, and then you can discuss whatever you want. But till then, we can discuss any fears that you may have. Or you can find me on Instagram and LinkedIn, and I think I have a lot of social media channels. Everything will be in the description box below. If you haven't seen it already, make sure you've taken a look at my live VARC solving to see how I managed to get 100 percentile in VARC. And also make sure that you look at the 14 elimination methods that I have explained in a video, which I will link in the description box below, so that you have some Abrahmastra for the VARC section at least. That said, best of luck. This will probably be my last video before CAT exam. I will try to put out more. But if it is my last video before CAT, I want to wish you the best of luck. And I'm sure that you will do very, very well because you've worked so hard and you deserve it. That's it. Like, share, subscribe, comment. Anything else? Ring the notification bell, do all of that. But above all, relax and enjoy your exam, because at the end of the day, it's going to feel like it changed your life, whichever way it goes. So enjoy the journey. Okay, that's really heavy and a lot of Gyaan that I didn't expect from myself and like philosophic. I think I will stop now. Bye.